All righty, we are live and in person and living color and all that good stuff. Glad to be here, ready to talk up all the ins and outs of WWE and NXT and AEW. So yes, we're right here, super kicking with Stephen and Greg. Greg one over there, Stephen A 1181 right here. We are ready to talk up everything good and great and glorious. So, Greg, how's your weekend going? Your son's tip off today, correct? In the
Yes,
playoffs.
sir. Tip off tonight, 8 o'clock against the LA Clippers. Going to get that first series win. And that improbable road to a championship, it's going down. I feel it in my bones. Stephen A, it's going to happen. Kevin
Is this finals
Durant's
or
here.
bust?
Finals or bust, absolutely. Even though he's only played 8 games with us, when you get a superstar like that, you drop him in the mix and it makes everything taste better. So
Yeah.
this is it right here. This is what we need. This is the equalizer. When we run into Milwaukee with Giannis or, the Celtics with Tatum, it doesn't matter. Kevin Durant is a great equalizer, and then there's enough big guns around him to tip the scales in our favor. So super excited for it.
Definitely. So I think my patients will find out where they'll be drafted soon enough, and we'll kind of see where that all plays out. But let's get into some news and notes. If I can hit it. There we go. You will love this, Greg. It's being discussed that LA Knight is the leading candidate for the Money in the Bank ladder match briefcase. I know he's been on a little losing schneid for a little bit, Greg, but I think I think it's all in due time for him. I do think he's probably the leading candidate. I mean, I'd still like to maybe see like Damian Priest grab it though. I always like the heels better. I don't necessarily think LA Knight needs it. He's over pretty much, no matter what. So, I think as well the money in the bank briefcase is important because usually that's your next step. Obviously we've seen who lost last year. Well, we saw what happened last year with it. They lost, right? Theory, yeah,
Right.
Austin Theory lost to the U.S. title for whatever reason. So they kind of changed it up last year, but we've seen the Miz cash in a win though after he won it from Otis. So yeah, and obviously Liv Morgan cashed in, won it right away. So it will be interesting to see which way they go. I think the biggest thing as well is just kind of watching it in London, Greg. I think that'll be kind of a cool scene to see how that plays out. But what are you thinking on LA Knight? I know you're all in, but do you think he really needs it?
Hey, in a word, yeah, he definitely needs it, brother. It's about keeping it on the heels. Who do you think he is? He is
Yeah.
going to be a major heel, and I am going to love seeing him roll around with the money in bank briefcase. Should it happen? I was thinking about it while I was, taking notes and watching the last minutes of SmackDown and NXT this morning. Is that I might have to pull out not one but two hashtags. I was watching that LA Knight and match with
Xavier Woods.
Xavier Woods, and yeah, it's I'm like, dude, he is ready, and it was a great match, and we get to that. But I was like, I need to pull out two hashtags. I was gonna put out one for Oscar
Mm-hmm.
because they're doing her dirty right now. So officially hashtag justice for Oscar, and I want justice for LA Knight, and I've wanted it for a while. You know me, I've been talking about it since he showed up on NXT. That loved that he brought the whole gimmick over. All the catchphrases. He didn't change his look. He's exactly the same as he was in TNA under the name Eli Drake,
Yeah.
and he is money. He is money, and I was thinking that they're probably going to save him to do something big with him in the draft. Um, but he is too valuable a talent to let go to waste and put on the job squad. So um, I like seeing this news that it wasn't aware of this. So I'm putting the hashtag back in the closet for now until we see if this comes to fruition. And but yeah, it's going to be huge. LA Knight is the man, and he needs more stage time. He needs to be in front of the people because even in the losing streak, the guy is super over. I mean, people are chanting yeah at him anytime they see him. They love it, and the dude's getting over on his own without winning matches. So imagine what he can do with a push and starts winning.
Well, and I guess that's the thing. I mean, I feel like this is a push for him. He's on TV. Yeah, Xavier Woods, yeah, picked up a couple wins over him, but I don't. I think there's something that's going to be, there's a greater plan for him. So like you always say, you have to eat a little lumps before you get into the big money tickets. So, also, we saw this come out. So now there's no King and Queen of the Ring happening, Greg. It is Night of Champions. Sounds like it was just a creative choice, just kind of bringing Night of Champions back on a big scale, especially in Saudi Arabia. So all the titles be on the line. Now the biggest thing there, Greg, is the current tag team champions. We know that Sami Zayn does not wrestle in Saudi Arabia, and obviously Kevin Owens would not wrestle there either. I think you could play it off. You have him get hurt right before the event. Maybe that Friday night SmackDown or something, Greg, that keeps him off. So you can play around with the idea that yes, the tag team titles would have been on the line. Maybe you throw an impromptu, number one contenders match. But then we've also heard, there is their rematch coming up between the Usos and Zayn and Owens. So who knows? Maybe they throw it right back on the Usos to kind of lead into that. But I kind of feel like we're getting away from that just to, we also heard Paul Heyman say Roman Reigns is getting fed up with, starting to get a little upset with you guys. So I think that's the bigger story there. But Night of Champions is always, a good time. All the championships on the line. And you bring it to Saudi Arabia, kind of let it be a big international crowd. You could also throw filler, kind of contenders in there for the time being, because you assume most, if everybody, will retain, Greg. So I would love to see King and Queen coming back around. There was a possibility, I guess, it could come for the draft time, but the draft is happening pretty quickly, so I don't see them throwing that too quickly. If anything, I think it'd be a good summer thing, maybe leading up to Money in the Bank. June, we don't really have much going on, so maybe you could just do it in a couple weeks for, the weeks of June and kind of get that going, or maybe fall-ish, or, towards the end of the year. So I would love to see it come back, Greg, but it is what it is. Not really anything. I'm not really disheartened by the news. It is what it is. So any thoughts on your own end about, dropping King of the Queen and just going to Night of Champions?
Yeah, I agree with you. It really has no significance other than them just being able to put on the gimmick, the scepter and the robe, and call themselves king whatever and queen whatever. There's no importance, no significance to it. You don't get an automatic title opportunity. There's no stakes beyond the title. So it's pretty much a useless, gimmick that's long run its course unless they do decide to, put some stakes on it the way winning Money in the Bank does. You get X if you become king or queen. So until they do that, let it rest, bury it until you can figure out what to do with it. I saw them going into the Night of Champions bag. This is straight out of WCW. They're the originators of Night of Champions. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, as long as they do it justice, and there's plenty of ways to work around the whole, tag team championships not being defended. There's still, 6, 7 other titles to make sure that you can fill the card. So there's plenty of workarounds for that.
Yeah, and I mean, we always just see Night of Champions come back around randomly. So, doing it on a grand scale, like we said, the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view. Hopefully, pretty soon we're almost up with this deal, Greg. I feel like it's been so long, and we get about 2 pay-per-views there. So, I would think we're about halfway through the deal, but hopefully it's ending sooner rather than later, and we can, maybe not head back there. It just seems like a long trip. Just do a quick pay-per-view and then get right back on the road to, back to the States to do, all the stuff here. So, but yeah, Any other news or notes on your end that you caught your eye that you wanted to bring up?
Just a couple rumors that
Mhm.
I would love to be true, but like I said, they're just rumors. But I did see a couple juicy ones um, falling under my hashtag Justice for Oscar. I saw a one rumor regarding her that she's not happy and she may be getting released or her contract may be ending. So I would love that for her because they're not doing it right in my view, and I would love to see her pop up on AEW or just go back to Japan and get her mojo back and come back as the original Oscar, the NXT Oscar. Um, so I hope that's true because I think that as much as I love Triple H and having him, at the helm, maybe this is a sign that Vince is more in the mix than we want him to be, than he's rumored to be, and the Oscar remake has been a dud so far. So I hope that that is true, just for her sake and for the sake of her getting her mojo back. So
Mhm. Well, you wonder how
as
much
much
time she's got left anyway in the tank.
yeah,
I'm sure
as
there's
much as
some
I
juice
love
left, but
yeah,
go ahead, sir.
yeah, as much as I love seeing her, I don't want to see her like this. So
Mhm.
I definitely would like to see her, get her mojo back,
Uh,
somewhere else or back home in Japan. The other thing I saw was same thing going on with Drew McIntyre being really unhappy,
yeah,
and
that's the big
that
thing.
he may be on the outs. And I saw one nice piece of fan art with him as a part of the Blackpool Combat Club.
Mhm.
So, you know, who wouldn't love to see that? I mean, he fit right in and come in as a heel. Yeah. So sign me up for that. But, Drew's kind of in the same boat as Oscar. They don't really have a direction for him. And I'm tired of seeing him come to the ring with a sword. I get the story and it's good for a minute, but you got
Yeah,
to
that problem.
bury the sword and come back as a real guy. And they've done him wrong too. So if that's true and his deal is coming up or he's not happy and he wants to get out, I recognize him, realizing that it's not working and wanting to get out, and I hope that he does.
And you're backing up the truck if you're Tony Khan. So I will
Absolutely.
also say, speaking of AW, I was going to separate it. I think it's a better idea for us to separate the AW stuff. So when we do our AW reviews, Greg, we'll have a couple of juicy rumors there or juicy news to talk there, obviously with FTR and some other things here and there. So I didn't want you to think we forgot about AW. I just realized new time, we'll just start separating the news and not throwing everything at once. So kind of helps us as well. And talking on air, producing notes. So that's always good. But Drew McIntyre, they did say blacking out some of his WWE stuff on his Twitter page, Greg. The old sports thing, unfollowing things that, there's always
Hmm.
that rumor there. But I mean, yeah, if he goes to AEW, give him a championship at All In. Maybe not the World
Exactly.
Championship, but TNT or the international championship they're calling it now. Um,
Right.
they've already got well, I guess I don't want to get too deep into it, but they have a lot of pre-registered sales. They're saying for all in. So even if you had Drew Galloway back in the mix there, and like you said, the Blackpool Combat Club. I mean, that would be a perfect fit for him.
Yeah.
Kind of, show his psycho side again, with the Scottish psychopath side. So, um, yeah, I think his juice would be back as well. Kind of reset himself. So, but I think WWE would be dumb to let him go
True.
too. There's
Very true.
there's still, even if you saw the work with Gunther and Sheamus, Greg. So there's still plenty of
Hmm.
jobs, plenty of room for Drew on the top of the card, middle of the card, bottom of the card. I mean, helping anybody. So if they let him go, I mean, I hate to say it, Greg, I think that'd be a bigger one than Oscar. I know you would think Oscar's the bigger one, but uh, I think losing Drew, especially like you said, You would imagine he goes straight to AEW. Well, I guess the timeline would have to line up, right? But it almost needs to be
Yeah,
released now because of 3 months would just be touching it. So, very curious timing with seeing where he's at. But I imagine things get settled, and he kind of gets a little break. He probably needed a break too. If you think, I mean,
sure.
that pandemic era was all him, Greg. I mean, if you think back, so him, Bailey, and Sasha, really. So he still needs a big win at a big event, I think, as well. So, yeah, but I think that's all the news and notes we got for that end. Let's kind of do a quick commercial break, get into the in-ring action, then we'll get right into AW news and notes and their in-ring action. Alrighty, let's get right into some news and notes of the in-ring action for Raw. We, once again, kind of went back to the Rey Mysterio Judgment Day stuff. Dominic, the rumor is flying, Greg. We might get a hair versus mask match for Rey and Dominic, which I would assume means Dominic is going to be bald soon, Greg. But I hope it doesn't the case. I hope he makes Rey lose his mask. Actually, I think that's a different way to go, especially with the LWO stuff. You gotta have Rey Mysterio show his face for it, but we can't let Dominic lose that wonderful mullet, Greg, can we?
Right. I like the idea of it. I mean, Ray got over it at WrestleMania. This could be where Dominic gets over and gets one up on Ray. And the thing is that we've seen Ray without his mask before. You and I have seen it. He's
The
lost
animals.
exactly. It can easily Google it and see what he looks like unmasked. Dominic bald would be gross. I'm trying to picture it right now, and I'm stopping the tape on that. So it's it would not work. And so I like the idea and the stipulation, and the fact that this is be the the payback for Dominic, and it falls great into the storyline. So Ray doesn't need to be the central focus of this. I mean, he's the angle that covers everything, but his soldiers can be doing the fighting for him. So love the idea though. So
I guess so this would probably be SummerSlam. Do you think they recycle back to WrestleMania next year, Greg, and let Dominic get the win overall, and then that is Ray's swan song?
It's possible. Depends on how the LWO gets over.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they could probably use another member or two,
Mm-hmm.
or if the rivalry with Zelina and Rhea, gets going,
Yeah.
and people buy into it, that could add months to it. Just having those two go at it. So there are ways to do it. It would take a lot of work and a lot of thought from the the creative to make it happen. I'm sure all the energies are being purposed for the bloodline, but if you can take that same vigor and apply it to the LWO versus Judgment Day, then you may be able to stretch it out until WrestleMania. I can't picture it at this moment. You need to add some more layers to the onion, but it's definitely possible. And then have Dominic get over next year. A year from now, he's going to be much better. he's grown incrementally since he debuted. About 2 years ago?
Yep.
So, one more year of seasoning, and a year from now at WrestleMania, he can definitely, still, have, do it as a villain, but still have a even better match with Ray next year than he did this year. This year's match was really good, so
Yeah. Especially if you
it
put
could
the
definitely happen.
career, do the career on the line or something like that. So.
Right.
Finn Balor did pick up a win over Rey Mysterio. The Judgment Day keeps getting over on the Raw and SmackDown, Greg, but they can't seem to get the win at the pay-per-views. I would like to see Backlash change that for this time around, but with the LWO kind of starting their gears, it's probably more important for them to get some wins. But it'd be nice for the Judgment Day to pick up some wins at a pay-per-view, though, right, Greg?
Yeah, absolutely. And LWO, I don't think has gotten any wins in this rivalry yet. So that's still been pretty one-sided on TV. So, it's going to take some work to get them both some momentum, kind of simultaneously. So, if you can pull that off, you got something.
I mean, I guess the Judgment Day is over, though.
Oh, yeah.
So, in a way, maybe the LWO needs to win a little bit more. But how about this surprise of the night? We'd heard the rumblings that Trish was going to turn, but I don't know. I don't think I need a heel Trish in 2023. Do we, Greg?
Well, it's the whole thing. It's like we knew that Trish and Lita weren't here for a long time. They were here for a good time. So, you have the moment with Lita and Becky winning and Trish being, an integral part of it and them having their big moment. And in another month or two, you figure Trish and Lita are going to be out of the picture altogether. And we kind of saw this coming. I didn't see Trish turning when, they had the angle of, Lita getting hurt backstage and Trish stepping up. I thought that, they could definitely lose. But when I saw who they were up against, like, okay, maybe not to this week, but somebody more credible comes out next week. So I was definitely surprised that Raquel and your girl Liv, got the win.
No hashtag for her.
You don't need to. Nope.
Brandon, I didn't think Raquel's first title would be the women's title, Greg, but 3 different tag partners now for her too, in her illustrious career of WWE.
Exactly. That was what the kind of moment. So I definitely had to do a double, triple take and see that she actually pinned her and got the win. Because as much as that pairing was, it's like it's okay, but I didn't think it was going to happen right away. So
it's clicking for them.
They got me.
The crowd's into them. I mean, you're not into them, Greg, but remember, we're not we're not the only people watching. But do we think it could cycle to Trish, Lita, one final salvo, maybe at SummerSlam?
I think so. We still haven't divulged who was the person that injured Lita. And as much as we want to point the finger at damage control, maybe it was Trish that got her. And so it's either that or, you have a way for the 3 of them to just have that last match, Trish, Lita, and Becky. Because maybe Becky's fed up with both of them, or something like that. Yeah, that would be easy to do. So and just have one big, huge blow off match for the 3 of them.
That's true. Yeah, I could see that too. I was just I was thinking a little bit further. I'm like, man, if we get Trish and Lita, because now, have Trish and Lita in 2023. The women's division is so much stronger than when they were. Maybe they just want to really go all out, Greg, at one final time. So, I started to put their names together. Bobby Lashley, Bronson Reed. Looks like we're just going to get a good old. It's going to be a double count out matches happening, Greg. It's going to be disqualifications until we get some big blow off match for these guys, right?
Yeah, I like it though. It was a great hoss fight, and I like the size similarity and the fact that Bronson's a little bit bigger, and Lash is going to have trouble putting the hurt lock on him, so he's going to have to find another way. Um, and it was just two bulls, destroying the Shiner shop. So it was great, loved it, and so there's plenty of meat on the bone to flesh it out. It's going to make Bronson Reed look even better, and give Lashley that keep him in the spot that he's in, helping the younger guys, but still looking like a beast in the process.
Yep. I'll be curious to see what their blow off. I mean, Lashley's kind of in the holding pattern as well as from what we've seen, Greg. So I'll be curious to see if Bronson just ends up going over him and, wherever Bray Wyatt's at. I'm thinking we're moving on from that. So probably for the best. But how about Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar at Backlash? We're getting Brock back Monday night. I'm going to assume he accepts it. He'll accept the challenge eventually. But just looking ahead, Cody Rhodes over Brock, Greg, or do we think we have to have Brock beat him a couple times and Cody has to do the come from behind, somehow build his thing? Or do we just have Cody go over the first time?
Well, there's a lot of money to be made with having multiple matches with Cody and Brock. I mean, look what Cody and Seth did. They had 3 matches, and they were all bangers, and I'm sure they all did great at the gate, and on the pay-per-views and stuff. So, Brock is the attraction of attractions. So to set him up with Cody, you got to do more than one match. And so I think that first match, Brock should win. Cody hasn't felt somebody with that power, that ferocity, and we saw what Brock did it to him. You have it continue for this next one, and that's the hill to climb, and we can milk 2 more matches out of it, and then Cody gets over in the end and slays the beast, but not right off the bat.
Yeah, and he's going to do the John Cena route. It looks like going against Brock Lesnar and trying to overcome that. So the Usos defeat the Alpha Academy. No big stories there. We're still seeing where Maxine goes with Otis. I mean, could they just pull the swerve and somehow Gable becomes the model?
I guess they could, but it's more interesting with Otis as the model.
Yeah, I just maybe he's going to help Mansoor and Mansei be better wrestlers or something weird like that. But yeah, Io Sky, she got put in the match, Greg, and she wins a triple threat match to kind of get Bianca Belair next. She took Bayley's spot. Bayley gave up the spot willingly, even though I think we all see it coming. The draft will separate all these ladies. I think Io and Dakota stay together on one side. Bayley goes the other direction, and that's a way to write that off. But hey, congrats to Io picking up a win, Greg, and now we'll get her and Bianca going at a Backlash or wherever I think it's Backlash. But I'm looking forward to that match.
Yeah, it should be a really good match. We get back to Io being the Io she was when she was the champion in NXT, and Bianca's shown that she does great with characters like her, like the match she just had with Asuka. They had a excellent match, so there's no reason she won't with Io. And those high spots are going to look even better with Io flying all over the place, and Bianca making it look good. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then Solo attempted to end the Kevin Owens problem, but we saw the good old brawl stuff, and of course we saw on SmackDown where that went. So we'll kind of get into SmackDown here in a little bit, but Solo Sikoa still picking up. Some people are throwing his name out there. Greg, could he be the one to end Roman Reigns? I was almost wondering, him with the briefcase. He might be the problem solver of everything, and I don't see it happening, Greg, but hey, stranger things have. So stranger
Exactly.
winners have happened. But any thoughts on Solo? Kind of, just showing out and still he's starting to. He looks pretty thick, Greg. He might be Rikishi's size here in a couple years.
I know Solo's been a beast. He's been looking great. Um, and he's just getting over with the crowd. I mean, they were in with him from the beginning, but as they've given him more singles matches, he had high profile main events against everybody, against KO, against Sammy, against everybody in the whole bloodline story, and he's carried his weight admirably. Looked great doing it. Um, so props to him. He definitely needs the singles run, like we both said,
Yeah.
and this could be a time that it happens. So props to Solo. I love watching his matches, and he's only going to get better. He's just getting started.
Some NXT stuff. Alba Fire, Ela Dawn picked up the win, Greg. I'm done and ready for this whole Kiana James, Brooks, and Jensen, and Fallon Henley to finish up, right? I mean, this thing I think it's sailed its course. Um, I'm going to assume it's going to end up with, Jensen or with whoever is dating the Kiana James. He's going to end on the outs, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the end of the tag team at least,
Yeah.
or at least maybe the end of both
The
tag
women's
teams.
side. Yeah.
Because it looks like Brooks pushed his partner down, and you know they're not seeing eye to eye, and the women aren't seeing eye to eye. This could be the end of it for both of them, which I would not be disappointed about.
Or we need to introduce whoever the other the other suitor in it is, to kind of let that play out. I guess you could go the up. You could really pull the old troop, Greg, of it's really Jensen dating her, and then you got the Brooks and Jensen feud. So um, Damon Camp was out there watching Eddie Thorpe. This guy looks pretty legit, Greg. The Eddie Thorpe guy. Maybe that's a way to kind of build him up, with Damon Kemp, let him ride with him for a little bit, see what he can do. Body hobby is still getting over with, losing and doing the body hobby stuff. And he had the Christmas album that came out, in January or February. So he's getting over with whatever he's doing. But Eddie Thorpe is obviously they're high on this guy, Greg.
Yeah, kid's looking good. Great introduction, and it was right to put him with a guy like Kemp. Just shows that he's on that level already,
Yeah.
and there's going to be a lot more to come. So he was probably one of my favorite parts of NXT.
Yep. Tiffany Stratton picked up a win over Sol Ruka. I think Sol Ruka has another girl that she's partners with, so or she knows that will become debut soon. Um, Dragunov picked up a win, Greg. And you know what I'm scared of? Von Wagner is. I think he's head for the main roster because
Oh,
the breakup with Mr. Stone. I know we don't want. I don't want to see it, Greg. But I mean, I don't think you break him up if you don't always shoot him up there and see what happens. But I don't think much. I don't think he's going to get over at all. But I don't see him down there either. So he's kind of in a weird pattern. I mean, unless they're cutting some fat and he's on the release list, Greg. But I think at the draft he's going to be drafted maybe in the supplemental draft. But it wouldn't surprise me if Vince has a little ear in the little voice in the ear and is like, "Hey, I want Von Wagner up here now." But see what he can mold with this lump of clay. I'm not even
yeah,
call it a. Not even going to call it. Might be more like Play-Doh, but I don't think Von Wagner has much air, Craig.
I don't either. I mean, he is definitely void of
Anything.
any charisma, any uh, reason to make us want to cheer for him. So it would take a miracle in the creative team to make us care about this guy. How in the world they're going to work with that look, that you know absence of character? I have no idea. You know, talk about putting lipstick on a pig. they're going to need boxes and boxes of lipstick to make that look even halfway decent. So, yeah, I
Yeah,
hope this is.
we can pull all the cliches out for him because I mean he just yeah. But on the opposite end, Joe Coffey looks good. Back with Gallus, he picked up a good win, Greg. And how about Grayson Waller? This has to be a swan song against Carmelo Hayes, and then he gets drafted, soon after. Even though you got to love a spring breaking, little event, Greg. That's halfway in May. For yes, I know spring is now, but most times as like schools and us, spring break has long passed. But hey, the NXT schedule is different than a school schedule. But yeah, Grayson
Exactly.
Waller picks up the win. Duke Hudson gets in there. We did forget to kind of, Duke Hudson kept his trophy, Greg, but did not really help out uh, Andre Chase there with the Braun Breaker stuff. Looks like we're just gonna get I wouldn't mind a Braun Breaker just breaking up every talking segment, just to kind of keep showing his name there. But Duke Hudson keeping the trophy, all about that MVP trophy, Greg. So I still think we get Duke Hudson on the outs eventually, but Grayson Waller picks up the win. We'll start there, and then we could get into Braun Breaker and kind of his night. But Grayson Waller picks up the win, and like I said, this probably should be the last match, and then he's drafted probably high, Greg, in the WWE draft, which I think is taking place. I thought I saw April 28th ish, and then the May whatever fifth day, what third, but it could be a week after that too. So we'll see where the draft is actually scheduled. But Grayson Waller, Greg, thoughts on him and winning this match?
I like it. And I was watching to see how they're going to portray Carmelo.
Mm-hmm.
What After what looked like a double turn at the end of last show, with Braun shedding his, you know, good guy image and making Carmelo instantly the sympathetic character. Um, Carmelo came out and he still had that heel energy to him,
Mm-hmm.
that braggadocious and arrogant, overly arrogant vibe to him. So I think they're going to leave him at that. But he's still way over with the fans as that character. So
Yeah.
there's no real reason to change it and start doing the whole, I'm doing this for you guys kind of thing, like all
Oh
the
yeah.
other fan favorites say. So, keeping him true to the way he's been since day one is a great idea. And even with Grayson Waller as the opponent, he's still going to be the favorite.
Oh yeah.
Um, so I like the matchup athletically and from what they're going to be able to do on the mic when they stay in the ring across from each other and just cut promos on each other. Waller's definitely ready to take that next step and come up. So I'm excited to see how it's going to go. I think it was the best choice.
Yep. And then let's get into some SmackDown talk. We did kind of see this kind of was bookend with the Bloodline, Greg, which has been the story for many, many of shows lately. But we've kind of saw pull apart, free for all. We did see Solo pick up the win over Matt Riddle. Do you think Riddle's going to eat some L's, Greg? Just as like kind of consequences for being out and having to go time away and all that. That's the old school thing. But I mean, he is in the hottest storyline as well. But I feel like he'll kind of be the fall guy for most of the matches, right?
Right. I mean, in the beginning, for the time being, yeah, he's going to take some L's, and it's just going to be mostly the numbers game catching up to him.
Yeah.
Even though Sammy and KO are going to help even the odds a little bit, they're still outnumbered when you figure in Roman Reigns, when you figure in Paul Heyman, shenanigans at ringside. They're still outnumbered. So, it's a sign of approval that they're putting them into the Bloodline storyline. The angle is ready made with Solo being the one that put him on the shelf to begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's going to eat some L's before he starts winning, and they're going to be able to justify it in doing so. And he's going to be able to get back his huge status that he had when RK Bro was the hottest thing. So I'm not worried about him from that part, but they need to establish that connection with Sammy at KO and hopefully recruit another guy to, join in the mix to, kind of even the odds a bit. So, yeah, he'll eat snails, but he'll be fine.
Yep. Xavier Woods picked up the win over LA Knight, Greg, with a little schoolboy, pulling of the tights. I think LA Knight tried it, but it didn't work. So, really fantastic match. Both guys showed out, Greg. I like Xavier Woods getting a little singles time here and there, especially with Kofi on the shelf for the time being, and Big E, whatever's going on with him. So, I'm sorry it's at your guys' expense for now, Greg, but I think we both know that LA Knight will be in a bigger spot soon enough over Xavier Woods. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was fine, and I was impressed with that match. I sat and watched every minute of it, and I'm glad they gave them, adequate time to have a good match, and they did. Um, and my thoughts while I was watching it was, they can do anything with Woods. They can make Woods a heel character, and he'll still be loved. He can show he's not above, you know, some nefarious tactics just to even the score with whoever's in there with. Um, so once he drops the stupid King gimmick, and he's legitimate as a singles wrestler. So liked him, and LA is just too good to leave off the card. So
Yeah.
I like the idea about getting that briefcase, and love the idea about him being involved in the Wyatt family. There's so many things they can do with him. My favorite angle, and they're still trying to wish it into existence with him taking over Miz TV. So we'll see which way they go with him.
Damian Priest Escobar had a little feud there. Just more of the Judgment Day, Rey Mysterio, LWO stuff. How about Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville stepping up to the plate? I think that's the perfect challengers, Greg, to kind of make Liv Morgan and Raquel look legit before they get the titles taken off of them by Ronda and by Shayna.
Yeah, they missed a golden moment to rename the Sonya and Chelsea team, Team Karen or whatever. They got to it. It's like, what do we call you guys? And they dropped the ball on that. It was a huge opening, and they didn't take it. But yeah, you're right. They're a great first opponent to just show. We're here, we're the champs, and like they say in boxing or MMA, you're not the champion until you defended your title the first time. So, this gets that check mark in the box, and they can get a good, strong win.
Might be the only defense that they have, Greg, if things go the way that Ronda and Shayna should go. So, Nakamura back. He defeats Madcap Moss. I think we're going to turn Madcap Moss heel, Greg, with the pairing of Emma. I don't think people are really into it, so I'll be curious to see what they're. And I was thinking for Nakamura, he'd be a good kind of, feeder for Roman Reigns at Clash, Night of Champions. But we'll see where Nakamura goes. It just always feels like he's just there, and then when he's ready, he's almost like that Orton, Randy Orton bit, Greg, where Nakamura gets really into the feuds that he needs to, and just kind of cruise control most of the time. But
Yeah.
it'd be nice to have Nakamura just all out, all the time. But I think at this point in his career as well, I mean, he's done everything he needs to do. So I think he's in that, I'll do what I need to do. I'm willing to step up when I need to, and I'll ease back when I need to. So,
Yeah.
but
I was hoping he'd be better. I mean, it's the same Nakamura that we knew from whenever he left, and aside from the color of his gear, nothing has changed.
which I don't think anything will with him ever.
Right. That's the disappointing part, because we know he's so much better than they've let him show. So
Madcap Moss, like we said, I think just kind of just playing the heel. Hey, I got a hot girlfriend. Hey, I'm big and bad, so just let him play that up. But
And
I
they can
also,
work it. I mean, look at Cardona and Chelsea Green, how they did it.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
they can use that template and just be over the top with it, get people booing them out the arena, but that's the kind of boos you want. So,
Are the Miz and Maurice. You have the
right.
Miz. Um, so Paul Heyman did announce a rematch and also said, "Hey, you know, Roman is losing patience." So I think that's we're gonna slowly we're the candle's burning, Greg. The wax is dripping on this, so we'll see when the final blowout of the candle is. But and then, like I said, Solo picked up a good win against Matt Riddle. But closing thoughts on SmackDown, then we'll get to AEW stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was nice and slick where Paul Heyman's talking and he's, of course, standing behind the Usos while he was addressing um, Matt Riddle and KO and Sammy, and let him know about the rematch.
Hmm.
And when he says that the Roman Reigns is getting tired of you two, that he's
Hmm.
staring directly at the Usos, and the Usos are thinking that he's talking to Sammy and KO when
Yep.
they're not aware that he's staring it right at them. So, very slick, very smooth, and that moment we'll see it again sooner than later, I suspect. But I like what they did there.
Yep. So let's get into Rogue Energy talk, or I'll go to the Elite Performance commercial break. We already did the Rogue Energy, so we'll get right into that. Oh, there he is. Oh, Big Ben is back in the chat. Awesome, Big Ben. Sorry I missed
And
your chat there. We were full screen for a minute, so I didn't see it, but glad to have you here. He has moved to Florida, and he'll be back in just a couple weeks. So good to have him back in the chat, and we'll always get his thoughts. And might have to get him back on or get him on here live sometime. I think we got to make that happen. So see
absolutely.
if we can make that happen somehow. But let's get a quick commercial talk for Elite Performance and get into some AEW news. They re-signed a huge team, and it might be their swan song for the next 4 years. So we'll see where that goes for them. All right, so the big news is FTR is officially signed for 4 years, Greg. 4 more years, and then they're going to call it a career. Uh, and you know what? I kind of hold them to their word, Greg. I actually think that they will. I mean, what more could they? You got 4 years now to do everything you want to do. You kind of set a time frame on it. Now, of course, never say never after the fact, but I think both guys will want to move to some other step in life, whether that's maybe coaching, maybe do more with the kids. Like Dax has his daughter, so maybe do more with her in a few years. But 4 more years to see FTR on our TVs for now, and then we'll see where things go. So huge signing, and now all the rumors get laid to rest, and we can just enjoy them for the next 4 years, Greg.
Yeah, huge signing. And I think it was the best thing for them to do. Stay with AEW, and they're having amazing matches, and they got you figure a lot more freedom creatively than they do on WWE TV.
Mhm.
So props to them for that. Uh, the 4 year thing is curious. I mean, I'd love to have a 4 year contract, but they've come out and saying that after 4 years, that's probably it for us. A little surprised, unless it's just because they have young children, because they still, I don't know what age they truly are, but they still look pretty young. They have probably another decade and a half of um, on the tires. But there's a lot of injuries backstage. There's probably some medical stuff that we don't know about. Um, it was just curious to me that they're like 4 years and we're out.
Maybe
It's
get out while you
definitely,
still can.
it
That
could
could
be
be a
that
thing.
too. But most of these guys end up being wrestling lifers, man. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Ric Flair, look at Steamboat, look at Sting. Guys
Well,
that can never leave the game. Um, and they had that kind of feel to me that they're going to be around forever. But if they do 4 years and they're out of it, props to
what
them.
a career. Yeah. I mean, I could also see, Greg, I mean, you did say look at Flair. I'll admit, look at him. He's not exactly, I mean, Sting's matches. Yeah. So I say get out if your body is still, you know, it, I hate to say, I don't, like we said, we don't know what their body shape is in, Greg. But and remember, Cash had that, that big, what was it, the steel thing in his arm
Yeah.
that pierced him. It almost hit some nerve. So who's to say, like we said, their bodies might, the tires might have more tread than we realize on them. But
Yeah. I remember I
the
was there that night.
yeah, that's crazy. So there was a lot of blood and guts in that. So
Yeah.
also here, it looks like we might have a come to Jesus meeting, Greg, between CM Punk, Tony Khan, Chris Jericho, FTR. I would assume the Elite. I mean, this is probably the best thing to do. Get it all together, get all the parties, because Jericho's made a couple instances, Greg, that I think people have said. There was a tweet that said like everyone loves working with CM Punk, and Jericho tweeted back, "Not everyone." With a couple eyeballs, the eyeball emojis. So
Hmm.
I think it's always like the family that fights. Sometimes you gotta get there together in therapy and hash it out. I think back to the Metallica, some kind of monster film, Greg, where
Hmm.
they just literally were trying to throw an album together, but also had a lot of personal issues with each other. And now look at them. I mean, brand new album out. It looks like they're all on the same page. So I think they need this. There's too much. There's also too many, just black clouds out there. So maybe this could be the ray of sunshine that they need, Greg, to get everybody in there, and hopefully it doesn't turn into a fight. That I think that's the biggest thing. I think Tony Khan's got to say, hey, no matter what's said, we're gonna get everything aired out, but no physicality. Legit. We're not playing up the contract of a match, but this is because FTR's they're vouching for, hey, we want us and Punk against the Elite at All In come England. That's the money match. Or Omega and Punk, and you get FTR and the Elite going at it, or so. Um, I think they need this meeting, Greg, and it's probably been due a long time because it's not as hunky dory it feels like over there as it used to be.
Yeah. First of all, a small side note. It's funny you mentioned the some kind of monster, um, because today I noticed in my timeline is the anniversary of the day that Dave Mustaine was kicked out of Metallica,
Mm.
and he went
What
on
year
to
was that?
form.
Was that 80s?
Yeah, it was. I would say 83 or 84.
Okay, had to be early. Okay,
Right, but this is the day that it happened, and
wow.
Dave Mustaine went on to form my favorite metal band, Megadeth,
Mm.
and they've been killing
Metallica.
it ever since. Um, but yeah, Dave and was a original member of Metallica, and it went off the rails real quick. But I noticed that today, and ironically, yesterday I went and had my set up on my custom Dave Mustaine Flying V guitar done, and
Okay.
you know got it all ready, and it looks beautiful. So Dave Mustaine's my guy,
Mhm.
and today's the anniversary. So shout out Dave Mustaine. Screw you, Metallica. I like him, but not since the Black album. So I'll leave that there.
I think that's a
Uh,
lot of people.
yeah, but Dave's always kept it street, and they sound as gritty as they did from the first album.
Mhm.
So anyway, pivoting back to the coming to Jesus meeting here. It definitely needs to happen. It's the time for it to happen, and it's what you need to do. You need to take all the parties involved, put them in a room, put Tony Khan in there, put some law enforcement in there, and just have it out and let everybody speak their piece and see if we can come to an agreement. Because at the end of the day, it's about money, and CM Punk is money. You
Yeah.
know, people are going to buy tickets to come see him. They're going to see him, or they're going to pay money to watch the um, brawl outs play out on TV in the ring, and let them bring the the bad feelings and vent that on the microphone on camera,
Yeah.
because that's going to make it even more juicy. We're going to be soaking it all up, and especially if they start dropping piece of information that nobody knows but them, and letting that, because that what makes the best storylines, when they have that reality to it, and then let it play out in the ring. So if they can come to an agreement, this is what we need to do, this is how to do it, and we can make some money working with Punk, then I think they should absolutely do it. I think it's that time. He said they put enough separation between Brawl Out and Right Now to um, spin it with a new um, direction and get people. As soon as Punk shows up on a TV screen, they're going to be glued to see what he's going to say,
Oh yeah.
and you know your ratings are going to spike for weeks after, and there's so many possibilities. So I hope it happens. They need to do it, get it done, and find a way to coexist, because they're missing out on a huge opportunity if they do not. But at the same time, too many people have said he's a cancer in the locker room. He's too much about himself, doesn't work with others, blah blah blah. And if that's the case, you don't want that poison in the well for everybody else. So you got to see both sides of it.
Yeah, and that is the hardest thing. Like FTR speaking highly of him and kind of speaking out for him, Greg. But then you have Jericho speaking out against him. So who know? Like they always say, there's gray area. I guess the other news involving CM Punk is there's the idea that there's going to be a new show called AW Collision happening possibly on Saturday nights, Greg. There will be a 2-hour show, and they might make him the focal point of that to kind of get away from Rampage or Dynamite involving him. But I guess the bigger question is, Greg, do we need another two? I mean, I guess there is enough roster that you need that 2 hours, but that is a lot of wrestling time. If you have Dynamite 2 hours, you have Rampage for an hour, you have this new Collision show on Saturday night. You got to get rid of Dark and Elevation, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And you just move some of that, to where you like Rampage. But what would you think about another 2-hour show, Greg, for um, AEW?
That don't like it. I mean, nobody misses Dark and Elevation, and it's enough keeping up with the 3 weekly hours of AEW programming, in addition to the all the WWE programming. Another 2 hour show, man, it's too much. I mean, for 1 week, it's asking too much of everybody. So we know he's got more talent than he knows what to do with, and that's on him. I mean, we get trying to support the business and support the players, but you got to draw a line somewhere. And as much as we bag on WWE for making roster cuts and keeping the roster, kind of slim and fit, Johnny Khan could learn something from that and start doing the same thing. Nobody wants
Yeah,
to get cut or see people get cut, but you know,
might need to.
yeah, because your ratings are going to get sacrificed when you have too much programming. In a week, it's exhausting. We have real lives, so it's planning in 2 days is enough. 3 days, you're asking a little too much.
So let's get into some AW Dynamite. Darby Allin picks up a big win over Swerve Strickland, and then MJF came out to talk to him. Which one do we think all four of these guys are going to go at it, Greg? I mean, I guess that's got to be the plan, right? At Double or Nothing, you're going to give everybody the shot, and we don't see many multi-man matches for the world title in AEW. So, you're letting the four pillars go at it and see who comes out on top. Correct?
Yeah, I think this is where it's going. I give myself the Barry Horowitz for calling Jungle Boy as the first man out to get singled out, but it doesn't look like he's going to be. You know, they're going to go in turn. They're going to go from Jungle Boy to Darby to Sammy to
Yeah.
now it looks like they're going to have them all in the same match, 4-man, and that's going to settle. Have a four pillars match. Um, I like him going through each one individually. Um, I've liked the work they've done. They're building them all up at the same time, giving them all wins at the same time, and all the promos that MJF has cut with Darby and Jungle Boy and Sammy have been great. All the promos have been fire. The guys have stepped up and delivered um, with MJF in the ring, and made us more interested in it. But yeah, the more I watch it, the more I see that they're aiming for just like one match um, for the pillars to settle all of it.
I mean, I like your idea because knocking down the pillars. Because what's left? Nothing. But and I got to give Sting some credit. Was that the best he's been on the mic in all of his AW career, Greg? And to throw out the nugget that he's almost done, like that kind of went under the radar, right? But I mean, he was full of fire. I still hate that he's talking up for Darby played it. Darby can talk on his own.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, okay, it's probably like I like the Sting promo in a way, but then at the same time, I'm like, do we need it? You already had MJF kind of build him up. You're having Darby speak for himself, and now you still need Sting when we know that Darby's over. I mean, you look in the crowd, you got little kids, dressed up as Darby. So I don't think we need Sting, but man, that Sting promo was fire, as the kids would say, Craig.
I agree. I was very impressed with Sting, and it's not something I say very often. I mean, love Sting when in his heyday, but now just it's gut wrenching to kind of watch him, try to still be a wrestler. But this promo was great, and that part where he talked about I'm not going to be around much longer, that definitely got me. I was like, yes, I heard that loud and clear. Thank you, Sting. And yeah, Darby doesn't need anybody to talk for him. I mean, that promo they did cut with MJF in the ring, it was great. They're back and forth, and the story Darby told, great story. So, yeah, he doesn't need that. He doesn't need anybody talking for him. But maybe that was the purpose for Sting to, be the carnival barker for a minute and to let the world know he's going to be gone soon. So, that was enough for me. I was happy.
Have we gotten Darby and Sting yet 1-on-1?
No.
So I think that would be a good ending for Sting's career, and then that puts him over, and then move on. But Will Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, picked up a win over Silas Young. Greg, Silas Young got no time in this match, but the big story was Wardlow destroying the sweet car, Greg, and then throwing Aaron Solo through a table that he almost missed. So there we go. Wardlow, though, is he getting any momentum back? Wardlow?
No, not yet. I mean, he's not getting any of the pop that he got originally. And it was kind of a waste, non-realistic when you look at it and we're in the era of suspending disbelief. And, you want to just buy it and roll it with it. But Hobbs standing in the ring and watching on the Tron while
why not?
Wardlow destroys his car. Right. He just stands there and watches it. No, my car is like.
I mean, they've always done that. You had DX, when Stone Cold took out the DX bus, they just stood in the ring and watched. Like, that would be nice to at least have, him run back there. And nothing beats Wardlow for getting put on the parking brake and the forklift keeps going, Greg.
Right.
I was like, okay, nice little. That'll be on Botchamania soon. So, but yeah, I
Yeah.
do think
So
it is kind of that car lasted not even the night, Greg. So, all that work for that, and he gets it one night. But,
yeah.
yeah. So, Orange Cassidy picks up a win. He's showing out, Greg. How about even having the taped up hand? So we're playing up the injury angle, that they hurt. So and has
Yep.
to throw the orange crush with the other hand. Picks up a win over Matthews. But I mean, Orange Cassidy's he's shown what he can do lately.
No, exactly. Everything he always has. I mean, I've liked him from the beginning, and wanted a title on him, and they finally gave him a title, and he's shown out, finding ways to win. He's kind of like Darby.
Yes.
He's the light side of Darby Allin,
Mhm.
um, and he just finds a way to win. He's the smallest guy in the fight, but he's got the most heart. He's got the most guts, and he will outsmart you. And I love the way he gets the job done. And he's going to eventually lose, but I'm enjoying every match he has because he brings it every time. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, can't say enough about him.
Hardy Boys are back.
Yay!
Anyway, so I think we'll move on from that. The firm and the Hardy Boys, and now all this stuff needs to be done sooner rather than later. I mean, you know what? We got to say though, hopefully Jeff can. This is it. This is the clean Jeff, and hopefully Jeff can keep his head above the clouds, as they say. But I mean,
Yeah. How
eventually it
many
has to
times do we
happen.
say that though?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like it's either going to end bad or good. I feel like Jeff Hardy. I mean, so hopefully, he can. This is it. But Moxley and Castagnoli picked up a good win. Well, not a good. They just killed them. But how about the promo back with the Elite Greg and pulling out the screwdriver, which I assume is going to lead to Blood and Guts. Now, do we get Blood and Guts at Double or Nothing, Greg, or do we get Blood and Guts like sometime in May?
I think that we need to do this for Double or Nothing because we need to even the sides. I know it's going to be Omega, the Bucks,
Hangman.
and Hangman, but they need the time to put Hangman back
Yeah,
officially into the group.
that's true. Yeah, all
Get him
with
some
Omega.
matches,
Yeah.
right? Get them some matches with some chemistry. Show that they're really together and not just okay. This is a one-off. We're going to do this for a minute, and if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. Get them together, and then we have a legit gang war right here. Love the what they're doing. You know me, I love the blood and gore, and yeah. Speaking of blood and gore, John Callis, holy crap!
Mhm. I
When
didn't realize he
Moxley,
hit that hard.
I didn't either. I mean, Moxley hit him and it didn't look like much impact. He saw a little blood in his fingers, but not until they showed that cut of that camera shot of him being split wide open.
Oh
I was like,
yeah.
wow. I mean, you pull the skin back and see the white meat. I was like, wow, okay,
Mhm.
that was unexpected, and but added that realness to it. I mean,
Yeah.
this is people who always talk about, oh, it's fake and blah blah blah. Like, no, this stuff really happens, and that wasn't a TV trick right there. That's the real stuff. So I love it that they're really going all in on the blood and the guts and the gore aspect compared to blood and guts last week, or last year, where it was more about the story.
Yeah.
This is just about brute violence and meeting violence with violence, and now the elite is the good guys in this story compared to the last time where they were the bad guys in the story. So love what they're doing, and I'm looking for an exciting type of war games ish match
Mhm.
where it's just straight brutality.
Yep. Ruby Soho and Tony Storm picked up a win over Sky Blue and Rio. I think Sky Blue is going to be a big factor here in the next few years, Greg. But right now, she's just eating the L's and kind of seeing where she's at. But let's get into Jericho and Lee, Keith Lee. I thought the end of the match, Greg, where we see. I guess we're gonna get Adam Cole and Keith Lee now. Like, is there anything we could do with Keith Lee but put him with tag team partners?
I think it's funny that Adam Cole and Keith Lee, given that the rumors before Adam Cole left the WWE that he was going to be Keith Lee's manager. If you remember that, maybe that was a shot at WWE for doing that.
That could be.
So I'm curious to see how this is going to go. I was thinking this is just going to be Adam Cole versus Jericho, or Adam Cole versus JAS, not him joining on with Keith Lee.
I mean, I guess you need partners to go against JAS.
True, very true. So maybe this is the beginning of a new faction with Adam Cole, because he does best when he's running a clique. So maybe that's it. It's going to be a part of it.
What about the Keith Lee look, Greg? He looks older than you.
I know. I mean,
do you need to disclose that you use Just for Men with all the commercial ads that they show us on WWE TV?
I'd be a great candidate for it. My girlfriend, she loves the salt and pepper. She has put over the salt and pepper in a major way, so there's no way I'm going to pivot off of it and just go, straight black now, because she loves it, and as long as she's happy, everybody's happy. So, keeping it is growing out, and we'll see if I'm looking like Santa Claus by the end of the year. But
with me, Greg, I feel like with as light hair as I have, I'm just gonna be white. I'm not gonna have any. I'm not gonna have any transition. It'll just be, if I ever grow this out fully, I think there's just be white speckles and red. But anyway, always Keith Lee got rid of that stupid hood or whatever, the cape, right?
Yeah.
You think he was just doing that just to be like, whatever? I just don't know Keith Lee right now. He doesn't know his character, right? I mean, I will say in the ring, he still is the same, but it's just hard to know what his character is outside the ring.
Yeah, because like a lot of the ex-WWE guys are bringing their WWE character into AEW, and what they would really need to be doing is setting up a new character. And being that, and I think they're all kind of a victim of that. Swerve's done kind of the best of adding layers to the character and evolving into something new. He's still kind of the hit row guy that we saw, but he's added elements to it to make it better. So, I mean, if you're going to do the same character, at least, give us some more seasoning on it, develop it more. And these guys just get there with their WWE characters and don't make any changes. And we just kind of, it is what it is. But Keith Lee could definitely add some more polish to whatever he's trying to do, because he doesn't know, we don't know. And, that's what's holding them back.
Yeah, they're like, hey, just grow out your hair and grow out your beard and just go keep pouncing people in the rings. Some stuff from Rampage. Aussie Open beat the Best Friends. I'm curious what the Aussie Open, are they going to be the latest Aussie Open is all elite, Greg? They keep showing up on TV.
Could be. I mean, they're doing all this stuff overseas. What's that like? I mean, Forbidden Door staying open and they could just come in and out whenever they want, or are they going to be all elite? So,
and they did just win another tag team championship, the Never Tag Team Championship. So there must be a pretty good, partnership there. But Mark Briscoe picks up the win with Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Singh. So I guess we're going to play up this whole idea, Greg, that Briscoe will probably have to join that team down the road, unwillingly. But yeah, that's all I got.
Well, I mean, I love seeing Briscoe on the screen no matter what. But I think this is going to launch him into um, a feud with the Team Jarrett. And a few weeks of these forced tags, and then you know he's going to hook up with somebody else, and hopefully might do some Lucha Bros, and we get a nice little trios thing happening. Um, that settles that. So,
Yeah.
but love seeing Mark on TV.
Taya Valkyrie is Rampage. I mean, that's is she ever going to wrestle in Dynamite, Greg?
I don't know. Maybe not until
He
after
has an
she wins the
exclusive
championship from
contract.
Jade.
Yeah, and then Jack Perry picked up a win. So that was kind of Rampage in a nutshell. I think it was on after the playoffs last night, or 2 nights ago, sorry. But let's get one more commercial break, and then we'll get into our last call and wrap up the show, Greg. So Sean Nugent, our Rockstar Realtor, for all your realty needs and real estate needs, and go get in touch with him.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSPORTS1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
All right, one last call we got happening here. I saw, Greg, that John Morrison won a boxing match last night. Did you see this? And then he called out KSI, who I believe is a big MMA guy, correct? Or is he a boxer too?
Yeah, KSI is a boxer. He's Jake Paul's partner in the Prime energy drink.
Yeah. So John Morrison picked up a big win in boxing. Yeah. I guess John Morrison is literally Johnny Nitro, Johnny Raw, Johnny SmackDown, Johnny Boxing, Johnny Impact, Johnny Lucha, right? Lucha Johnny.
Right.
We got all the name for John Morrison, but congrats to him. I didn't know he was even boxing, but it came up in some of the wrestling site news. So he picked up a win boxing last night. Yeah. So anything on your last call in, Greg?
No, I like that. That Morrison, he is a complete athlete. I mean, this should not surprise either of us. I mean, from the parkour to just his look, his abs have abs, and he has always been one of the most athletic guys on the screen. This should not surprise us, and I'm just glad he went out there and didn't embarrass himself and actually got the win. So absolutely, let's do that. And so good on him. I hope it works out, and you take a break and get some boxing in, get this big money if you can get far enough up the ladder. So shout out to him. So again, shout out to my Phoenix Suns tonight, and I forgot
who are they facing again?
LA Clippers.
Oh, okay.
The Clippers about to get this work, so that's about to happen. And may have some report. What?
Are the Suns favored?
They are. They're playing the first 2 games at home, so they're going to be big favorites, and they're favorites to win the series overall. So, so that works out. I will be sending probably some shots later this afternoon because in a couple hours I'm leaving to go to a indie show.
Okay. Awesome.
OSCW, Old School Championship Wrestling, and they're having a kind of a bash at the beach. That's not the name of it, but it's here in Charleston, and it's on the beach at this spot on the beach, and having some indie wrestling going down. So I'm headed out that way in about a couple hours. So maybe there'll be somebody we've seen before, but I'm looking to see how the the locals are looking out here, and this is probably the first indie show I've ever been to. So, um, props to the lady of the house for recognizing. They were coming. She's really getting all into wrestling. I got to use WrestleMania as the springboard into her wrestling intake.
Yeah.
So we're off to a good start. And she saw this was coming right to our hometown, about 10 minutes down the street. So we're gonna go see that. And I don't know, maybe it'll be something interesting to show off next
We're
week.
back. Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you for watching as always. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy some playoffs. I think the NBA playoffs kick here about 3 p.m. and I think we got it till about all the way through the evening. So you got plenty of action to watch, and then we're going right into April, May, and June, and all the good months of summer. So it is it's gonna be May is gonna be a busy month. I can already tell, but so we'll have to enjoy the little downtime for pay-per-views until Backlash, and then we have Night of Champions, then we have Double or Nothing, we have Battleground, Greg. So that weekend will be crazy. Memorial Day
Yeah.
weekend. I'm glad that we will be off the next day, or at least I'll be off the next day. And then we'll start our summer. So we'll see what kind of fun stuff we can plan up for the summer with the show and whatnot. So thank you for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Peace.